So happy to be in Mexico. It's really interesting. I'm in a hotel room and suddenly I'm in a room filled with people at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I want to introduce the work to you. My name is Pai. I've been doing this for about 17 years. It's amazing to be having all these memories of all the explosions globally. Um, but what I want to do today is actually to bring things back to Mexico, because that some people might know or might not know. In my own journey, um, of bringing this energy into the world, a lot of it actually began in this land. And so I want to honor the land. I want to honor Mexico. I don't know when we can travel to Mexico, but energetically I'm there. So I'm really interested. I want to explore this with you. Um, what is inner Mexico and what does it have to do with this energy? People use the word Kundalini, and that honors a South Asian tradition, the Indian tradition or the Nepali tradition. But a lot of this energy actually began in the Mexican. So I want to speak a little bit about that. And if you have any questions, let's have a conversation later. Um, so as I said, my name is Pai. I am Filipino. I was born in Manila in 1976. I'm right now 47 years old. Um, I started a movement um, almost, I would say 20 years ago. Coming to that, about 17, 18 years ago, it began in my body, and that's called the inner dance. And a lot of the journeys that are being practiced in the world, including what many call Kundalini activation process. A lot of it began with the form and the journey that started, almost 20 years ago. And that's in terms of the use of sound or music, the form of how people are asked to go into a trust space to lay down, and mostly to do with a particular wave, a particular energetic signature that is carried throughout Europe, throughout the Americas, throughout Asia, throughout Africa, throughout Australia, that now has a history. So for me, this has always been interesting. I've been watching these bodies for so long now, bodies going into the trance, into the expanded state, the bodies of the Chinese, the bodies of Europeans, the bodies of Indians, of Egyptians, of Africans. Um, the question is, what is there? Like a lot of people have these questions. Why is it happening? Why now? Where is it coming from? What is it built out of? So I offer myself up to share what we have found out from the long work. Primarily, a lot of the work exploded in Asia, especially about 10 years ago. So the way the process has been practiced over and over again in the way people especially use the music, vibration, touch. Um, a lot of it was being formulated by communities where the energy was really building up. Um, in places in Asia, like in Kopangan, in Thailand, or in Bali, or here in the Philippines, before it had spread through places like Tulum or Goa or now Mexico City. I think that's where you're at. Um, so I was like I mentioned, I'm Filipino. I was born in Manila. I grew up not really having a spiritual background except for the religious. I went to religious schools. The Philippines is the biggest Catholic population in Asia, and the biggest populations in the world are in Asia. When you think of China or India, the Philippines is about 110 million people, and we're more or less about 80 to 90% Catholic. or Christian. So the energy here is like it's like Spain, it's like Mexico. We like to think of the Philippines as the Mexico of Asia. Um, so yeah, I basically have a story of awakening, but a lot of it started with a story of death. Like I underwent a really deep, dark night where I gave everything up. I lost a lot, and I basically walked away from everything. And this is where I found all of the answers to the questions I was asking. I found the answers from inside. And this is what we are discovering, isn't it? Like everything we need is already inside. And when we share this, when we learn to facilitate this, this is what we're gifting to others, that the answer is inside you and you don't have to look very far. So a lot of people eventually asked me later on, like, why did you do it? Why did you live the life that you did? I basically lived on an island for 2 years, living mostly on coconuts and light and air. I stopped eating for a certain duration. And that's when I found the energy rising from inside. And that's when I became this energy. Like this energy exploded inside me. And then there were all these movements that are now being studied in the work that we do. I experienced that, but it wasn't in a workshop. It was not in a session or a journey. It was alone, where there were no teachers except for the one teacher that you might call the universe, the mother, the self. Um, so eventually I came back to the world after living alone for a long time, and I began to touch people. And I realized that this could be passed on, this awareness, this this energy. And eventually people needed a name to call it. So they called it inner dance because they needed to have workshops in the cities. And that initially what had spread out. Um, so I want to go to the roots, and I mentioned Mexico holds a part. I'm going to share my screen just because I can think more clearly through the image. I like to draw, and so I'm gonna put up my iPad right now just so I can think with you. This is where the music is coming from, but for now let's look at the image. Okay. So we want to unravel certain mysteries. It's like Mexico holds a part in the inner dance. So way back in 2002, 2002, I was living in the US. I was traveling through America, undergoing like a process. Like back then, I was going through a kind of ego death. I was dying, which is something happening to many people now, where our sense of self, persona, or ego is undergoing a death process. So I was going through a death process way back in 2002, and I didn't exactly know what I was looking for, but I just kept listening to my intuition, and I just kept releasing a lot of my fear, my ego. Um, uh, as mentioned, I don't have a spiritual background. I have a religious background, and um, I didn't really have guidance except for what was happening inside. But one day something interesting happened, and it was in 2002. I woke up one morning and I heard a voice that said, um, someone outside is looking for me. back then I was living in Los Angeles, around the San Gabriel Valley, San Gabriel. And near that place I was looking for, there were these mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains. And I was going through this ego death, and um, I, I I kept looking at the mountains. I said, I have to go there. I don't know why. I have to go up the mountains, but I didn't have any money. I was weak. I was depressed. I was going through suicide. I wanted to die. Actually, I was looking for a good way to just let go, to leave this experiment we call life. So this one morning in 2002, I forget the month. I don't really know what month it was. I heard this voice. It was a voice I've not heard before, and I just woke up with it. Someone out there is looking for you. So I think everything changed when I decided to listen to that voice. So I went outside, and I walked around. I walked around West Covina where I was living, and I found someone, and I approached him, and he was a Mexican stranger. He was a Mexican man, and I didn't know him, but I approached him, and he told me, "I'm trying to find someone. I'm waiting for someone because I can't find my way." And then he pointed to here, and I told him, I am supposed to show you the way. I didn't know why I said that, but it just came out. So this moment for me is maybe the root, the source of when the inner dance process began. This is in 2002. This is about 22 years ago. Yeah, it's 22 years ago. So I went up the San Gabriel Mountains with this Mexican man. And this Mexican man, I've never seen him after. I only was with him for the one day. For one day, I had a meeting with this Mexican stranger. I'm going to maybe let go of the screen for now because I'd like to see you while I speak a little bit about this. Stop share. Um, yeah, there was no food, there was no water. He basically took me up the mountain. I didn't know who he was. I asked him, "Who are you?" And he told me, like, I'm you and you are me. Um, the one day was not one day. It was like all of the days that became one day. It was all of the rooms. It was all of the moments across time and space. I felt like um, the universe could fit into a very, very small point. And okay, let me just describe what happened. He basically started to see me. And for me, to be healed is to be seen. But he didn't see me as a person. He saw me as the totality of all the possibilities. Um, like he would see all my choices. He basically read me in a way that he knew about my whole childhood. He knew everything about what had happened to me, the things that my mother doesn't know or my father didn't know. And he knew the connection between the past and the present. So this is important because he saw what was not yet happened, but he saw it as if it had already happened. He saw the potentials, and he saw that there was something in the choices that we make right now that could lead to that. So one thing about me was I grew up with a lot of trauma and a lot of fear. And I always feel like I'm so small, like I'm the tiniest person, like I'm so scared, I'm always afraid. But when he saw through me, he said, you will discover something really, really important. I said, that's not me. I really just want to not be here anymore. So one of the first things that he gave me was confidence and trust and love, and that we're born for a reason. Everything's happening for a reason, and we're always headed towards our highest potential. The second thing he shared with me is that we're always supported. Um, but he gave me something specific by way of support. He told me there is an old grandmother. He told me there's an old grandmother, and she's always there. So he introduced me the grandmother, and he was describing her as the oldest entity, the oldest being to have been walking this earth. And I didn't know anything that he was speaking about. I had no idea what this was. But after this experience, I kept seeing the grandmother, and she kept giving guidance. And for me, the grandmother was eventually the source of this energy. The grandmother isn't an actual person, human grandmother. It's it's like a memory. It's like the nature of time itself. It's the Mayan calendar. It's the circularity of existence. It's the meeting point between the beginning and the end of the beginning of the end of this cycle. Um, he gave me something interesting. He brought a Bible with him. Now, I'm not a very Catholic person, but Spirit does speak to us by way of symbols. He opened the Bible. After reading me, he stopped. We were walking in this road up in the San Gabriel Mountain alone, and he opened the Bible and he showed me a particular passage. I want to open it up today so I could look at that passage with you. And it doesn't matter if you're Catholic or Christian or not. Okay, sorry, this is my synthesizer screen. The part of the wait, the part of the Bible is Isaiah chapter 2-225. Um, Here it is. This is what he showed me, and it stayed with me for a long time. It was these words, and I had to look up these words later on just to understand what he was saying. The word said, in the last days, the the mountain, and we were in the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and then it shall be lifted up above the hills, and all the nations, the cultures, the histories shall flow to it. The actual word in the version that he showed me was stream or river. The nations shall river to it. And many people shall come and say, let's go up that mountain. I don't want to go into like this religious like more the Israeli terms, but this is what hit me. Like, we shall go up the mountain, we shall be called to it, and we will be taught in the ways so we can walk in the path. I don't want to say his, because I would rather say her path as well. From out of Zion, instructions will come. I don't want to use the word law. In the passage he showed, the instructions will come, and we're going to hear the instructions from the source. And from the passage that he showed, like, it's talked about how nations and cultures will be rebuked or will be yeah, it's just the meanings that hit me, not just the ones that are the literal ones in the Bible. The instructions will settle the disputes between the people, and this is important. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks. So the things that we use for war will be transformed into farming and agriculture and gardening tools. And the nations shall not lift up sword against nation, meaning countries will not learn war anymore. And when we go through that, we learn to walk in the light of the Lord. Okay. I don't like repeating some of these because they sound really religious. And let me go back to let me go back to my iPad screen. I want to maybe call some words, some keywords from that because they were important for the inner dance journey for a time and a half. I want to build some connections with you because they actually do explain, even from science, certain things. Um, one word that stuck out is war. And when you reverse war, what you have is this word. And this is a huge part of the inner dance process. I want to talk today about light. A lot of people like to use energy or kundalini. I like to use the word light because light can be explained from a spiritual and also a scientific basis. And science is that which gives structure. It's spirit that actually destroys structure and allows us to just make things one. So there's something about what's happening in the world now that needs to be healed, that would then shift into the simple, that which belongs to nature. So when I lived in the island for 2 years, as I mentioned, I lived mostly on coconuts. Now, the Philippines is the second largest producer of coconuts in the world, on the planet. I think Indonesia is number one. India used to be number one. Mexico, Mexico is the seventh. So for those who don't live in Mexico, you should have coconuts, because there's something about coconuts that actually contains the most light in all known foods. Coconuts have the highest electricity in all foods or nutrition sources in the world. So when you want to access light from a spiritual nutrition, coconuts is the key. I don't want to literally talk about just coconuts, but the instructions were very, very simple. And I feel like maybe since you're in Mexico, this can speak to you. So I lived on raw for a long time. And what this probably means and why it's being shared is a lot of people are studying the Kundalini or the energy and how we can access the mother from a workshop or a journey perspective. But for me, I didn't have any workshops. I went through um, maybe even internal war where I shifted from war to raw. Um, so in my body, like this was not a workshop, as I repeat. I had to go through the many deaths. Yeah. Like I had to really let go of my toxins, my toxicity, my pain. The workshop offers like a shortcut. It's a bypass. It's like very quickly you can get there. And for me, when I look at what people are experiencing, this is really just an arrow or like a sign that this is what we can experience if we became light, if we became one with the earth, if we became one with Gaia or nature, if we learn to come back to the origins of what it means to live on the earth. And right now we don't know how to live on the earth. We don't understand the true relationship between the human and the earth. So when I lived in the island alone, I basically died so many deaths. Because I wasn't eating food, like normal food, like cooked food. I was eating just coconuts. I experienced what you might call purgation. Like I was throwing out illusion, like judgments, emotions. That was my workshop. I didn't have like a yoga center. I didn't have I didn't go to a guru, a master, a healer. I had to do it alone. So that's the instructions of the spirit. The spirit told me, live here, stay here until the conditions are set. where healing has already happened. Um, so there was something about food where, we're eating so much processed food. The true food is actually light. So I was asked by the spirit to eat light, to eat sunlight, to eat light from the universe. And because I'm always hungry when I was younger, like many people are, probably if I lived in the city, I wouldn't have been able to do it, because if I'm feeling weak, if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling depressed, I would open up the refrigerator, or I would drive the car to go to a fast food restaurant. I would just buy something to fill up my body. And because I didn't have that in the island, I was forced to find light from inside. That was my workshop. When I came back to the world and brought inner dance to people, that was actually the message. Everything you need is already inside, and we must become simple again so that we can access this light from inside. So in many ways, the workshop element is actually a shortcut. It's a bypass. It's just a reminder of what it would mean if we went through the long process of becoming light again. And music can bring that reminder. Um, there are many tools that can bring that reminder, but if people are shortcutting, the instructions are really just to go back to the origins, the source, and that is light. So I would invite you in the long term to understand what it means to activate the light in your body. You will have to go through many changes, like in the brain, the nervous system, the cells, your chemicals, the neurotransmitters, the hormones, the endocrine system. If you were to go back to light, it's not going to be 5-day training, a 3-day training, or 1 year. It might take you 10 years, it might take you 20 years, and you're supposed to enjoy it. The nature of the journey is to help you transition, maybe even faster than 20 years. Maybe you can do it in 3 years or 2 years or 5 years to come into integrity. I'm not really just talking about food. Like for me, you can eat like what you want. You can eat any tacos and burritos, and it's really more about lightness in the mind. And if you can digest all kinds of elements that you put into the body after going through a process, then it should be okay. But still, we would ask, what does it mean to be in integrity with the earth? All of these were questions that were going on inside my mind as I was living alone, learning to heal not just myself, but the history of humanity that had learned to come from light and then make the body very dense, very heavy, very processed. So there's something about going back to the raw that actually pertains to the roots of inner dance. So all this the Mexican saw. He saw the potential. He literally saw my fear. He saw my emotions, my anger, my trauma. He saw my being very, very small, and he saw the potential that we can be very, very big. So I want to gift that to you, especially to the Mexicans in the room, that I'm not necessarily giving you something that's coming from the Philippines or Southeast Asia. When I was there in the Americas, I was actually reminded of this gift by the Mexicans. Um, I want to maybe hold the essence in a more complex form, because I'm using stories, I'm using symbols. There's definitely something like more than what I'm speaking that's underneath or within the symbols. Um, what the Mexican did for me had something to do with time. And this is one of the questions: what is time? When you ask someone to lay down and you yourself do it, one thing that's changing is time. So going back to the mystery of the Mexican stranger, the ancient name of the Philippine Islands is this one. It's Mai. So the ancient Filipinos were actually called this one, Mayans. So when I had a meeting with a Mexican, I wasn't just being transmitted information from the Mayans, but there was a circularity or a meeting point between the origins and the destination, the end and the beginning. So when you study what is happening in the work that we do, it has something to do with time. And Mayan time is circular time. So time had become linear, but there is a transition because the Mayan calendar had ended. There's a new time that is coming to us, and it's all dimensional. This is really the gist. This is really what is happening more. And so to go back to the raw means to go back to how things used to be, but also to go forward to a new reality that also considers what we have gone through throughout the whole history of the human. Okay, so let me go. Let's exit the screen again. I find these words and concepts interesting and important because you might come across them in your own spiritual path as you ask these questions. But yeah, in my introduction, I wanted to explain where was this all coming from? Like I was seeing the world when I was living alone through pure insight. Like I was seeing everything's happening for a reason. No matter how bad I was feeling sometimes, and I was getting so weak because I was living just in coconuts and I was throwing away all of the judgments, all of the things that I had absorbed. But there was this perspective, this worldview that everything's happening for a reason. Everything is one. Everything is connected. There is no separation. So I went through a process. It might have lasted like more than a year alone. That is my process. One thing that happened that was very strange that I now bring up with doctors and scientists that helps us to understand the true nature of the human, the energy of the human, the electricity and magnetism in the human. It had something to do with sleep. I like to think of food because we are trying to find out what is the true food. And when you discover true food, which is light, one of the things that will get affected is sleep. So when I was living alone on the island, something that got affected was my sleep. So there's a reason why we ask people to lay down. When we go to sleep, there's something we're looking for that is missing, and that is this one. The dream is a state of consciousness. It could be explained through the nervous system. It could be explained through the spiritual experience. But the reason why we sleep is to dream. And when I was living on coconuts, I was living in raw. The reason why we sleep is because we're digesting everything that we're absorbing. But when we live in light, we don't actually need to sleep so much. So when I was living on the island, I basically stopped sleeping. I was sleeping, if at all, like hours per week. So like 5 hours, 10 hours would be a lot already for me. I stopped sleeping. And the reason why we sleep is to dream. When we learn how to dream awake, like wake dream, when we learn how to dream awake, we don't actually need to sleep as much as we're sleeping now. So if you study the energy, especially in terms of, let's say, the music, we're using music. Why are we using music? There's something in the music that is wave-like in terms of frequencies and vibrations. The music starts out slow and then goes up and it goes down, goes up again, it goes down. There's a whole science, there's a whole spiritual framework as why music is being used the way it had since about maybe 16 years ago. That's when maybe I started to really use music that had influenced a lot of the work happening now. The secret to the use of music is to do a dream. The dream state is journey that we need to undergo to achieve what's called rapid eye movement, or REM state in the dream, a stage when dreaming happens in sleep. So if you can achieve this REM state while you're awake, you can find accessible what you are normally accessing in sleep. And a lot of this is vibrational, like delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma. These are the things that we study in the process. When we activate people, what does it really mean to activate? And when you do study brain states, that would be relatable to neurotransmitters, hormones, certain chemistry that either bring up or stimulate, or to inhibit, or to bring down. So if you are a student of this is what you're studying. Something goes up and then something goes down. There are levels of stimulation or excitation, and then there's relaxation or inhibition. So in the long term, for those who are really studying this in the scientific way, like I work a lot with doctors, I train doctors, I work a lot with science-based people, and we would study the stimulants like glutamate, dopamine, epinephrine, cortisol, and then we would study acetylcholine, serotonin, GABA, and then how are we creating the rising and the falling in waves, so that there's the REM state that is achieved chemically, energetically. So music is a way that entrains that. It just really makes visible what's happening like inside. So what I'm describing to you is me alone on the island, living on coconuts, because no one was there to tell me what to do, what to think, who to be. I basically discovered the dream. So this is what the inner dance is. Like people call it Kundalini, people call it the activation. It's a dream state. It's the state of the dream. And when we were younger, say when we were babies, or when we were like certain animal groups, the dream never went to sleep. Even when we were awake, um, we didn't put dream to sleep, because the REM state is actually quite rare. It doesn't happen very often. Like when people sleep, and a lot of people sleep like 1/3 of the day. If you're sleeping 8 hours a day, REM state only happens about 15% of the time. So you're sleeping 1/3 of the day. If you can achieve a lot more of this, so let's say you were able to access sleep consciousness 100% of the time, and while you're in sleep consciousness, you're experiencing REM state 100% of the time. This is what it truly means to live a harmonious, beautiful life. So technically, that REM state is when the lowest and the highest is co-activated at the same time. So when you study your music in the long term, when you start to formulate music, either using instruments, using songs, using synthesizers, using apps, when you study music, you would study the rising and falling, and you would study how do you bring about the most sustained, organic, and balanced REM state consciousness. Right? Like right now, what a lot of people are experimenting with is, I want to make the energy go as high as possible because people need to get high. But what a lot of people don't learn is how to make the energy go low, because the lower it goes, the higher it actually goes. So the study is how to make both of these happen at the same time. It's a simultaneous co-activation of the autonomic nervous system's sympathetic fight or flight mechanism, and the parasympathetic, rest and digest. Parasympathetic. It's the autonomic nervous system which manages the heartbeat, your breathing, your brain, your sleep-wake cycle, your digestion, your reproduction. Human beings forgot this simultaneous co-activation. So usually when you go to work, then you need to excite more, right? And then when you need to relax, let's say you know want to rest, to lay back, to just go into a siesta or a fiesta, then you let go. But what we're learning is this can actually happen at the same time, and that's the whole history. So I talk about my story where I discovered this initially inside myself, like how to activate light from inside through eating spiritual nutrition, which is sunlight rather than food. And then there's a lot more. It's not just that. It's not just food or sunlight. There is a lot more to do with language, reorganizing language in the brain, because I didn't talk to anyone for a long time. I shut down the language centers in the brain, and language centers are what establishes linearity in the brain. The Broca's and Wernicke's area is responsible for creating the arrow of time that helps us to understand the world through the past that shifts into the future, that's mediated by the now. So I shut that off. So a lot of people are experiencing light language and inner dance in Kundalini. There's something about the brain state that's becoming light in a literal way. Okay, so to make a really, really long story short, like what began for me as an experience, the workshop or the journey was the formulation of that. Like as we learned the science of shifting time, the workshop is the reverse engineering of what was discovered in the spiritual awakening. That when you become one with the mother, then the instructions will come, the understanding will come. So this is what we're studying in the trainings. Like how do you activate light in people? And the explanation is that it's a simultaneous co-activation. So in the long term, like in the trainings, we would, let me put up this app. We would be studying the autonomic. We would be studying the heart, because the heart has a language of its own. It's either the heart beats faster or slower, and there's a part of the heart that establishes speed, and that's called the SA node. So when you expose people to music, there's something about the music that touches the heart. And the part of the heart that is touched is the SA node. And the SA node is very, very responsive to certain chemicals like norepinephrine and cortisol. So when you expose people to fast rhythm, this would have a beat per minute measurement that's all its own. It would follow the music. This would make the heart beat faster, right? And if you give people slower music, this is going to beat slower. And that, you know that there's a relationship between the heart and the lungs and the brain. So depending on what you do to people's bodies, you would actually influence the heartbeat. With or without touching people, even just with the use of words and the music, you can already alter brain and body states through speed in time. But what would be really good to study would be the whole pathway for relaxation and stimulation. So the autonomic nervous system, okay, let's not to jump too fast into things. The autonomic nervous system understands what is that which slows down the heart rate for one, and what increases heart rate. So there are certain techniques that are being discovered intuitively by people, just asking someone to lay down would slow the heart rate because you would release the parasympathetic chemicals that are responsible for resting and digesting. But when you start to touch people in certain ways, when you use certain musics, you will increase the heart rate. So what we're doing in the process is we're actually holding the parasympathetic and the sympathetic together. People are relaxed, they're expanded, but at the same time, they're able to feel fear and anxiety. So one of the experiences in the process is we're actually able to allow people to be scared without being afraid. So then when you study the autonomic nervous system, there are different regions across the spine. The top region and the bottom region would be the parasympathetic nervous system. Like notice that here. The parasympathetic nervous system extends from the cranium, the cranial and the sacral, the cranium and the sacrum, which would be about here. This is the cranium. There are four cranial nerves, especially the vagus nerve or cranial nerve stem. About 70% of the parasympathetic nervous system extends from the cranial nerve 10, which slows down the heartbeat. And there's also quite a bit here in the sacrum that are the outflows of the parasympathetic nervous system. So there are reasons why you would hold the lower regions of the body, like the legs or the hips or the back of the neck, because that helps to slow down the heart rate and the breath rate and the brain waves. So the sympathetic nervous system extends from thoraco 1 to right here, lumbar 2, T1 to L2. If you want the heart rate to go faster, if you want to send out like a lot of energy, especially through the adrenal cortex, the HPA axis is here. So this is responsible for the releasing and the production of adrenaline or cortisol. I'm just letting you have a glimpse of what it means to simultaneously co-activate. Like there are chemistries that are responsible for slowing down here and to make things go faster. The outflows or the extensions of the sympathetic come from here. So there's a reason why people hold this region, maybe the legs, maybe the arms. There's a whole system there. And then there's a reason why people press on the chest or the abdomen, so that when you see images like let's see, like this, when given the explanation, then you would start to understand, okay, it's because of the outflows of the autonomic nervous system, which extends to the spine. I'm not really just holding like this part here or this part here. I'm holding all of these parts together, and the reason why the body starts to do this is because all these three different regions that I explained, they're speaking to each other. So yoga had intuitively understood this, just like many other disciplines, including breath work or psychedelic journeys. When the body starts to go through these motions, it's actually because of the highway system for electricity, magnetism, and light. Okay, let me go back to my. I'm really just giving you study elements in the long term. So even if we don't meet again, or you keep doing this work with community, you would discover this on your own. So I want to ground this. Why light? What is light? What does light have to do with this? Why did we begin with that? So light basically is a wave, but it's more of an electromagnetic wave. It's a dualistic wave. It's basically electricity and magnetism turning into each other. That is light. Light is an electromagnetic wave. And for a lot of people, that wave isn't happening. Let's say when your magnetism becomes too high and your electricity goes too low, then maybe your wave just looks like this. It's linear. You lose the helical model. your magnetism just goes up and your electricity goes down. So when people mention Kundalini, Kundalini in a scientific point of view is actually also just electricity. And when you study this from a neurological perspective, when electricity spreads throughout the brain, that is what rises up. So if electricity is low in people's brains and bodies, that is what goes up. And magnetism, a lot of you would, think about what magnetism does. It holds things together. It's like gravity. It brings things down. So when magnetism goes down, that's when electricity goes up. So magnetism is like the mind, right? It's that which creates and hold form. Electricity does hold information, but it's oscillating very, very fast. It's very high frequency, just like light travels really far and fast. Um, Something needs to go down so that something would go up. So if you were to establish facilitation or trainings later on, one metaphor or analog that you could use is this is the sympathetic nervous system, and this is the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so a big introduction that you might hold for people wanting to understand this is the simultaneous co-activation of the sympathetic and parasympathetic is actually quite rare. There's not that many instances when excitation and inhibition are co-activating at the same time. And we like to study the examples of when those activations are happening, the simultaneous co-activations. It can happen in the REM state in dream. It can happen in the birthing process. It happens in the near-death experience that brings about the life review. It happens in the spiritual awakening. It also happens when people are in the flow state. Now, interestingly, it also happens when people go into a hallucinatory or psychedelic experience, because a psychedelic is a type of substance that is at the same time a stimulant, which is excitatory, and then it's also a depressant. It holds stimulating and depressing effects. So if you know how to stimulate and depress people, you don't need ayahuasca or you don't need magic mushrooms. You can bring that energy about through the tools or techniques that you intuitively would discover. So when you study like all of these really interesting examples, what you have common to all of these is an alteration of the experience or the perception of time, right? Sorry, I'm trying to clean up. Something happens to time when you study the dream. When you're dreaming, time is very strange. At the point of birth, you come from a space where no time existed. When you die, you go back to that space. When you have a spiritual explosion or awakening, it suddenly, a day is not a day. When you're in the flow state, time disappears. And when you undergo a psychedelic journey, a few hours, you can experience like an entire lifetime. So I've been studying this and observing this for a long time. When people lay down, a lot of them would have these experiences of going back to the womb, of going back to the earth, of going to the universe. So we're learning to expand time. So this nervous system that we're describing, this is an original brain state. This is where we came from when we were babies, when we were in the womb. This is how our brains were. And we lost it. The more we got attached to certain foods, to money, to when we learned just to get attached, to become more controlling, we lost this simultaneous co-activation. So it's very, very simple. We're really discovering how to reestablish this once again. So there's a whole system here that you could keep studying. It's a nonstop, beautiful exploration in the Philippines and in parts of Europe and now in South America. We're actually working a lot with schools. We're working in clinical settings. Oh, sorry, my electricity keeps going in and out. I hope I don't lose my internet. We're working a lot with doctors, understanding how the body can self-heal through the energy, but now we're studying the nervous system alongside that. We're teaching doctors how to use music to stimulate certain brainwave activity that would allow cancer and different disorders to just heal by itself. We're working with jails in South America. In Colombia, we're conducting a deep research program within addiction centers, sexual trauma. We're working with psychiatrists and psychologists on this. In Europe, we're also working with schools, and there are possibilities of bringing this into the prison system. In Scotland and Belgium, there are openings where things are already happening in that regard. We're bringing inner dance to companies. We're working with governments. So this is why we bring about the science. We're okay with people using terms like Kundalini and spiritual terms that may have come from other parts of the world. But when you start to introduce this to parents who would Google, like teachers who would Google, okay, what are you doing? If you want to introduce this into the curriculum, which we are already doing in different parts of the world, if you want to make a presentation to companies, then you need frameworks. You would need a science to substantiate what you're holding. So for me, it doesn't actually matter what you call this at the end of the day. What matters is, do you understand what's happening? Is this something that holds a structure, or is this something that really just destroys structure? So for people to trust this, like in the long term, which includes you, what you would need is a framework. So Inner Dance is very open source. Like we actually give away a lot of material which are accessible, and we have this long-standing partnership with Sandra and Siegfried, who have been honoring a lot of the notes that belong within Inner Dance, because we've been doing this for a long time. What are the insights and the frameworks? We give this away. Like we have a YouTube channel where you can study this for free. Where it's not something you need to sign up for, but we do have long trainings as well, like in Palawan and different parts of the world. And we're always supporting this community that's growing in the world that's called Kundalini activation. We're happy to come into a collaboration or a non-competitive way in which whatever people call it, as long as we're finding like a meeting point between spirit and science. I think this allows us to bring this more and more into integrity in the world. So yeah, I invite you to study. Actually, one of the things I haven't mentioned that's severely important in the process is beyond the autonomic nervous system, what we would be studying, if it's not just going to be about energy, it's going to be about rhythm. So we're working with companies and schools and doctors, and sometimes it's as easy as telling people, people lost their rhythm. We've lost our rhythms, and so we just need to find our rhythms. So the circadian rhythms would be the thing to study. And where is that? Sorry. When you look at the wave, this is the sleep stages, which is part of the 24-hour rhythm, circadian, or what is the clock in the body. So that sometimes something goes up and something goes down because of our relationship with the seasons, but also light and dark. So one very, very helpful mapping to look at would be this one. Like this is changing because we're now exposed to artificial lighting and cell phones and the internet. So this is what we're looking for. This should be, make it maybe even red. No, just black. This is what we're looking for. We're trying to get here. And there's a certain journey that we have to go through before we reach it. So take into consideration like this part. This is called slow wave sleep, which is the deepest sleep, which is when we go closest to delta. Chemically, this is when GABA is being exhibited in the brain that inhibits neural activity, like firing patterns in the brain. You have to pass through this before you achieve the REM state. So notice how the REM state is longer right before you wake up. So it takes you all this time in order to achieve the REM state. Now, when you go into the journey, this is actually where you're going. You're going there. We've designed the music and the laying down experience and the contextualization in words. There's a host of tools like proprioception, kinesthesia, the visual, the auditory, the olfactory sense. All of these work in concert to bring people into the REM state. And it takes a while. It takes many hours to get there. Now, in the journey that we hold, when people's bodies are moving or not, we're able to bring people there very, very early on. So most journeys in the world, they last for 60 to 90 minutes. 90 minutes we mentioned because that's how long a sleep stage happens from non-REM 1 to non-REM 2 here. So let's say if we were to track that within the playlisting style, when you design music, there's actually like a multi-stage system there. This is so dirty already. Let's clean this up. So when you design the music, what we call the inner dance playlist, there's a reason why the music had been designed in this way. It's something starts slow and then goes up. So this is as a reminder, delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma. It's because of the rhythms. It's because of the rhythms of vibration that goes up and down in the stages of sleep. So when you collect music and when you learn instruments, certain instruments will have more delta. It will have more bass. The vibration would be lower. Gamma would be the higher vibrations. So now that we've introduced the concept of simultaneous coactivation, it's multi-stage and multi-dimensional, where mostly you have to start slow because most people, when they're awake, they're in beta consciousness. They're, thinking about problems, worrying about certain things. So beta consciousness is responsible for certain hormones and neurotransmitters that are, very stress-based. Like beta can establish high stress levels. So there are certain chemicals that you need to release, like melatonin, oxytocin, acetylcholine, that allows beta energy to shift into theta and then to delta. So that allows you to experience slow wave sleep, which is also called the non-REM 3 stage. But before you pass through that, you have to pass through non-REM 1, non-REM 2, before you're normally able to go into the REM state, which is the dream state, when time perception starts to go weird and wonky on you. So you need to pass through this. So when you playlist, when you conduct the music, look for ways to yes, like start slow and then build things up, but let it fall down maybe 10 to 15 minutes into the process, because nature speaks in this way. Like a lot of people, what they do is they usually start slow in delta and then they just try to make it go high as possible. And then you try to end back into the 0 point. Nature in the body doesn't work that way. There's a whole rhythmicity And in the inner dance, this is called 12 stages of transformation. I don't have time to go into that right now, but it's multi-stage. It's called the awake satisfaction, dissatisfaction, purgation, threshold, disintegration, the awakening, illumination, and so on and so forth. There's 12 stages. There's a reason why we designed the music to start with number 1, number 2. This is just number 3. This is, it just, yeah, maybe you can find the materials online if you're interested. You can always ask us where it is. So this is just to let you know that there's a whole system, and a lot of the movements that are spread across the world right now. A lot of the first people who trained in inner dance, who then changed the name, they changed the name to Kundalini activation process. Now there's so many names. It followed this framework, and I'm really happy with this collaboration with Sandra and Siegfried, because they are helping to bring back some of those frameworks that have not been retained in a lot of the trainings out there. That took us quite a long time to understand, like why are we committing the body to some of these stages. So I think the important thing to understand here is integration. Like, how do we bring homeostasis? How do we bring balance? So we're not just, making things explode. A lot of it has to do with very long-term, not just short-term, but very long-term changes that the body goes through. So it's very easy to activate the autonomic nervous system. The changes are very fast acting, but the changes are also very short term. You can have a big experience, but then you go back to normal an hour later, a week later. The really long-term changes are endocrinal. They happen in the hormonal level. It has something to do with the endocrine system, with the thymus, the thyroid, the gonads, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, the pineal gland system. It's not just like exploding electricity and relaxing people. There are more long-term changes that happen, and it actually happens outside of the journey. It happens outside of the spiritual experience. So to study that would be next level. And that could maybe even take years. But in the beginning, just go ahead and experience, because there is something inside you that already knows. But I'm just informing you that if you were to bring this as a real therapy to people, like integration and long-term transformation would be very, very valuable to understand. But this type of questioning becomes relevant after you've experienced maybe the initial stages. So rhythms, the circadian rhythms would be something I would ask you to study. It will guide you on understanding the wave properties of the human that happens either throughout like a year. There are seasons in some parts of the world where cold and warm have a way of going up and down. And this could be interesting for you to think about, that the journeys at 7 o'clock in the morning, some people journey at 3 o'clock in the morning, some people journey at 7 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The experience would be entirely different depending on what time of the day and what time of the year you do it, depending on where you are at, because of the rhythms. The rhythms are never constant. So you might design more inhibitory techniques when people are too stimulated, and when people are too inhibited or relaxed, it might be more stimulatory. Okay, so I think we're gonna end there just to give space for questions. I feel maybe you probably have a lot of questions. We can give about 45 minutes just to see where you're at.
Okay, so thank you so far Let's see if I can see ourselves. Yes. So we would invite people to come here just to present yourselves, saying your name. You can come to the camera so you can talk directly to.
Hello. Thank you so much. It's time I ask my question?
Yes,
Oh,
sure.
okay. Yeah.
If your name.
Yeah. Hi, Pai. My name is Valentina. I live in San Francisco in California. I came here for the training, as you can understand. So thank you so much for explaining this like from the science. It really matches a lot of puzzles. I learn you. And I had just one question, which after all you're explaining, how do you see the role of the facilitator of this in this process?
Okay. Okay, so I think something that needs to be clear in the way you facilitate or hold, if you were going to speak certain words before people journey, I think it's really important to help people understand that we're not healing anyone, because this is something that might be in the minds of people, and that can be helpful, but it can also be dangerous because we establish reliance or dependency when we let people think that, oh, okay, I'm the one giving you energy. So a word we try not to use is transmission, but for one reason or another, a lot of people are using that, and that establishes this point of view that I am the source of the energy and I'm giving you this energy, so you're receiving it. In the inner dance, we're very careful to state to people that no one heals anyone. We're merely creating the conditions where healing happens on its own. It's really interesting. During the pandemic, we started to create playlists that people can use at home, and they actually realized that you can go even deeper when you're accessing the energy by yourself because you're doing it independently. The power in the process, the session where there are facilitators, is that there could be more of a direct confrontation, so that people who are afraid to look at certain things, they will be made to look at it. So when we push bodies, when we trigger, it's called a trigger. The facilitator is there to okay, let's make this more functional. Let's put the screen there. I think your question is really a good starting point, because it makes this more more grounded. So remember, there's something that needs to go up and something needs to go down. So what goes down is the control functions of people, you know. So initially, we need to get people to trust the space. This is one of the roles of the facilitator. Like, I need you to trust me, but maybe it's because I need you to trust yourself. And because if you're not trusting either the universe, the world, the government, you know, maybe you're a conspiracy theorist, or you don't like your mom, or you don't like the corporations, and you don't trust anymore that everything's happening for a reason, everything is one, then when you get people to lay down, then they start to open. So, for example, the chemical that establishes trust is actually oxytocin. So if oxytocin levels are low, people have a hard time to trust. So there is a reason why we ask people to lay down. It's because then they would send out oxytocin, they'd send out acetylcholine, which then starts to relax the body and open the body. Trust means to open. So the other role of the facilitator is to allow healing to happen. And sometimes stimulation and excitation is part of that. So what you start to work with are possible trigger mechanisms. You know, so some facilitators, they like to make sounds, they snap their fingers, they start to make clicking noises with their mouth. They start to use certain words that would allow for a confrontation to happen. So as we mentioned, that would then activate the sympathetic nervous system. When the heart rate goes up, then we experience fear. But because the facilitator is also saying, no, no, trust this, open the space, then we can look at the fear. And then fear can transform into power, to insight, to an emotion. And then the body would start to go through these waves, when the movements of the body start to happen. It's because oxytocin and acetylcholine is mixing up with adrenaline or with cortisol. So you're there to trigger, so that people are able to look at the things that they're not looking at, if you know what I mean. And for a lot of people, it's hard to do that, right? It's like we're busy, we're afraid. So you're there. You see what I mean? The masculine and feminine are hard to hold for a lot of people in America. It's so hard. San Francisco is one of the more expensive places in the world. And why would you trust? Then you'd be left in the street. And then you're dead. So a lot of people, they don't have that capacity. So you need to almost play a game to allow people's systems to go into this more optimal state. You see what I mean? It's like aliveness would be vibrancy, and then relaxation would be like open. That's contradictory. How do you expand, and then how do you focus or make alive at the same time? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. One quick question. It's kind of not only trigger, as I understand correctly, but like more keeps the balance before relaxation and trigger, right?
Yeah, eventually, like at the end of the journey, the balance would be there. But to reach the new balance, we have to imbalance the old. Because a lot of the old balance, people are balanced, but they're balancing fear
I see.
in a way. So one way to think of balance would be to find the middle space. But actually, a new way of understanding of balance is to hold both polarities, so that you might experience something very awful, but then you're not resisting, and you might experience something beautiful. It's all the same to you. So that's maybe an understanding of non-duality in a modern sense, where people can just be okay with anything. But a lot of people aren't like that. They're preferential. It's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like you. There's a lot of judgment. So energetically, if you're able to hold delta and gamma, like the lowest and the highest, at the same time vibrationally, that means you're both the east and the west. You're light and dark. There's no difference anymore.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Thank you.
Hello, Pi. Thank you so much for that presentation. My name is Adrian, and I currently live in Sedona, Arizona. And everything that you've said has resonated. And I think my question is a more technical one. For those of us that have a background with sound healing, or have a background with working electronically, with various hardwares and softwares, is there any recommendations that you have that you like to use or prefer, or would be a good idea as far as how you like to interact in that realm?
Yeah, this is really cool. So when we started the journey, the workshop, this is like in 2007, 2008. Technology was actually quite primitive back then. The touchscreen iPod had just come out, and we didn't have these apps yet. So there's a whole history of the playlist system. I want to share the screen just to show how big this question actually is. So you see, this is our training website. And there's a part can be quite useful here. All right, this one here. This is the history of the playlist. And in the beginning, there was no music. There were certain feedbacks. So this is what you would be looking for. What are the feedbacks? So in the beginning, like we were using a lot of these because this is what existed back then. And then there were feedbacks to that. When we were stuck with this technology, the music can only happen in sequence where we were experimenting what would be the changes when you expose people to one song at a time. And way back in 2008, 2009, all the way to 2015 or 16, everyone around the world was actually using the same songs, like same 30 to 50 songs. It's so interesting. Then there were feedbacks to that. There was a point in which we were just even using dialogue and spoken words, and there were also feedbacks to that. And then we started to use these mixers. These are early versions of these mixers where we can play songs simultaneously with each other, one on top of each other. And the feedbacks went deeper. So then these apps were coming out. So I would love for you to experience or experiment with these. And then we went into this process of not even using songs anymore. We would take sounds from the ocean, you know, like whale songs or sounds from the womb, and that brought people even deeper. So a lot of people aren't, you know, they're not using songs anymore, they're using noise. And that's shifted people from experiencing the personal. The experiences are now more planetary. So most people right now, they're using Spotify because it's easy. So that actually preserves the original way we were using sequential music. I had a stage where I was using more the digital audio workstation. So I'm dependent on Logic Pro and Ableton, which allows me to hold a greater library. But this is where I'm at right now. I am working with synthesizers. Like this is my studio. I have about 30 synthesizers all running at the same time. And when you make a choice on this, it's either analog, these are Moogs, or you work with digital. So I like to experiment with the depth. So this is one of the most interesting things as well. Like because we learned to record the music, to work on the waves at home in the studio, then you can give it to clients. So this is one of the more interesting things in the US. A lot of people are interested in sleep because recovery happens in sleep. So it took us a long time to figure it out that if we're triggering dream states, why aren't we applying those waves when people are sleeping? And the experiences lately have been like so much deeper. Why can't you journey while you're sleeping, right? So to answer your question, I think there's two. Okay, no, still I need the screen here. Here are your two
Synthesizers.
choices. If I was to, they're very cool. Now let me make a differentiation that would be important to host this call, so that we're not just looking at equipment. I think here's the choice point. It has something to do with the matrix or the grid. So this would be space and this would be time. There's still certain benefits or gains by doing things live. Okay, so a lot of people, they want to DJ. I want to DJ the cosmos, I want to DJ the universe. But here in space, this would be in the comfort of your own home. Like when you build a studio, that means you are building the process outside of the moment itself that tends to be very linear. So it's either you would work with digital audio workstations like Logic Pro or Ableton, where you would pre-record the process, or you would do it live. So if you do it live, then you can react to the moment as it happens, right? Like, okay, what's happening in the body? Is it going up? Is it going down? then you can respond to the situation. Here, you would channel the possibilities, and like home-based creations tend to be very it's deep in a different way because you have the time to really look for the right mechanisms that would trigger or to bring about trust. I love synthesizers right now because if you study analog synthesizers, they work with oscillators, right? Voltage controlled oscillators. And when you study the brain, firing patterns in the brain are voltage gated. So brains are like synthesizers in a way. So I would love for you to experiment with that. Is this making sense? Like where does this lead you?
I was thinking synthesizers, but I kind of felt like we needed to talk about some of the more accessible technology, which is things like DJing and sound healing. But ultimately, my mind was going to synthesizers, so that's perfect.
I think it really depends on your intention and your style. Like songs tend to bring about a lot of emotions. It tends to bring people into the personal. But when you work with synthesizers, you're giving people like a starting point. You know, it's really just more like frequencies. So when we started to use that a couple of years ago, the feedback was, wow, you didn't give me anything to hold on to that I might have gotten attached to. I just went straight into the cosmos. So I feel even basic synthesizers would work. I actually had a meeting with one of the biggest music companies in the world last year. It's called Roland. I was in Belgium with the European office, and we were trying to think about what would be the new synthesizers that doctors, healers, yoga teachers could use. So that instead of talking about frequency, amplitude, why don't you rename that to be delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, or heart rate instead of BPM? Because music entrainment is becoming a very, very big thing like in the world. So a lot of DJs and music producers, they're studying the work that we do. They're realizing if people aren't dancing, why don't we just get them to lay down? They would suddenly just go cosmic. So I think music, brain science, and the energy practice, they all need to come together. And if people aren't afraid to explore, initially, this is important because when we access the energetic state, the first language that we rediscover before we go back too much into words is vibration. We need to speak through the music. So when you adopt like a library or a certain tool, you're going to grow. So I think you need to really make a choice. Okay, what is my platform? Because I will insert expansions into that. Yeah. So yeah, I love your question. I think this needs to be talked about. Thank you.
And Pai, just you announced that we are going to have a class especially designed for the music or music development or focusing more on the music. So
Yeah.
Zoom call coming up for one of the Sundays. So
yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hola, Pai.
Hola.
I don't speak in English.
I will translate.
Okay.
Quiero preguntarte, yo soy maestra para discapacitados mentales, entonces
I'm a teacher for disabled, mentally disabled, or how to call it in English? Yeah, people, children.
yo quiero saber si quisiera trabajar con estas personas, si esto es posible, que ya me dijeron ellos que sí, pero qué tipo de música se podría usar y cuánto deberían tardar las sesiones.
So what I wanted to ask you, and I asked already Sigrid and Sandra, if it's possible to use this technique or this work with these children. But also I wanted to ask you, and what type of music, what type of duration would you recommend, or how to, if you have some specific with me.
Okay. Yeah, so right now the work in schools and with children are expanding. First off, you need to make sure that people feel safe. So it's either the parents and the teachers need to understand some of the context and the science behind this. You can translate first.
Okay.
Okay. So in the experiments people are making, some people they would expose the children to as short as 10 minutes, but some people it might be as long as 1 hour, and this is within a classroom setting. It depends on how open the institution is. Go ahead. And you make it louder so that the people who might need the information at the back, they might need to hear it as well.
Okay. I was saying the music, no, la música, lo mínimo que se eso, experimento mucho en las escuelas y hay un mínimo de 10 minutos hasta también a 1 hora. Hay todo tipo de variaciones y se está experimentando como los efectos que hay.
Okay, todavía no. Okay.
Sí, se sabe. Bueno, él escucha mucha gente. And the next question would be, what type of music would you recommend for that?
Okay, let me just show the iPad. So you don't always just need to use the playlists. I want to show you one of the most used apps out there. This is called My Noise. And we're working with the creator of this. This is the best noise generator we found, like in the market. It's just that you will need permission to use this in public, and there's a different arrangement because this is usually only allowable for private reasons. So the inner dance is maybe the one community the creator allows this to be used in public, but it basically allows you to use many different sounds at the same time. And this is this is more the playlist system that works with the children. Go ahead.
Muy bien para niños.
Yeah, we explained to them this thing that the
Yes, we just shared with them very briefly the My Noise app this morning.
Yeah.
Without going, but yeah, recommending that the usage of that. So
this would be good for schools. This is what teachers are using right now.
Lo que los maestros en las escuelas usan en ese momento con niños, muchas veces es solo la app con esos ruidos más que música secuencial y tambores y todo eso.
Okay.
But really just try to study the waves. We have short videos explaining that, so that what you need to know is how to combine different rhythms, different brain waves at the same time. So if you don't have a lot of time, then you would take people, the style or the technique would be different. But if you had an hour, you could really just create a long journey. So design your journey based on what is given to you and based on what you understand.
Es importante diseñar el trayecto que sea de media hora, de 1 hora, y saber cómo es jugar con el ritmo y con las frecuencias, para estimularlos simpático y parasimpático a la vez, saber un poco lo que se hace.
But Sigfrid, tell her we can give her the folders as well. Like we're happy to give people our inner dance folders, and there are certain. There's one particular music, for example, that a Mexican woman asked me to create for her child who had all these diagnoses of ADD, ADHD, and so we can give you the playlists as well.
Ahí nos está diciendo que va a compartir con todos las playlists que ha hecho, una en particular que había una mujer que pidió por su hijo que tenía varios diagnósticos de problemáticas, y hizo una música para calmarlo, y también podemos recibir esos playlists.
Ay, qué bello. Gracias.
Yeah, we have playlists for giving birth, for like this one, for example, for studying, playlists for studying, playlists for journeying in the sleep. Here are even just the sleep-based playlists that people are using. So yeah, just feel free to experiment.
Dormir. Y ahí se... él nos envía el enlace y también lo pondremos para poderlo descargar para todos.
Gracias.
You're welcome.
De hecho, nos ha enviado, ya ha enviado al grupo una música para dormir, para todos. I just shared the one you send me this morning in the WhatsApp, so I
Okay.
already, yeah. Thank you. Una pregunta más, some more question. Sure.
Hello, my name is Beata and I'm Polish, but I live in US. But my question is more about related to your journey. You mentioned that you were going through ego death, and I feel like I'm going through the same process for a couple years now. So my question is, from your own experience, what would be your advice to go through this process for myself and for people that I serve in empowering way? I'm not sure, but maybe you can advise.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Inner dance has always been in Poland. Like I've observed so many Polish bodies, and they go very, very deep in this. But the process can be very emotional as well. There's a lot about families and being a person that my advice would be the same mostly to everyone who's needing to be held in a much bigger space, and that is trust. You have to just keep trusting. When you learn to serve other people and to facilitate, you would need to trust, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? There's no instructions that's clear, not like in yoga or in breath work where people know what will happen. This work is so mysterious that you never know what's going to happen. So the reason why we're doing this is it will force us to trust. But in terms of our own process, if we're not being facilitated by ourselves in terms of trust, then we will have lost it. Now, one main insight or gift this energy gives us has something to do with the wisdom of the body. The body is so wise, but I think when we get stuck in our minds, we're not able to listen to the information that's very ancient and very, very old. So somehow we need to work in our bodies. I think our bodies need support. We need to get stronger. So we need to exercise. We need to eat the right food. We also need to heal our rhythms. So I would, if you feel like you need more support, my main advice to you would be to experience the journey while you're sleeping. The playlist that I shared with Sigfrid that he will share has already shared with you, and then write down what you remember when you wake up, and then maybe a month later or a year later, it will show certain things to you. What you need to listen to now would be the subconscious speaking to you, and that will happen in the dream state. Because if we're maybe resisting, the only pain in the ego death process is when we're resisting. And sometimes we're already in the, like on the way, but when we're holding on, then we get stuck because we know we're already on the way. I'm already heading there, but I'm not able to let go. So you need to do that in the dream state. And a lot of that work can actually happen in REM state consciousness. So why don't you experiment with this, and I promise you, you will feel different every morning. I hope this helps. Just keep trusting. Make sure you just don't lose that particular emotion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Es decir, que la playlist que has enviado hoy y que has compartido es para usar al dormir, a dormir o por la mañana cuando despertáis y simplemente poner a escuchar.
I didn't hear that.
So, no, you can do it when you go to sleep to listen to that music, or when you wake up and you put the music on.
Then
The
you have that
playlist,
music?
I send it, I put it in the group already.
You want to ask?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Jasmine.
Hi, thank you so much for all the work you've done that you've brought to us. I really appreciate it. I have two questions. I live in New York. I'm from South Africa, and I want to hear more about what you've discovered and how you're using it in a clinical setting, so that I could possibly tap into that some more. Also, I'm here because I believe that I work in a lot of trauma with women, rape victims, stuff like that, and car accidents, whatever. Every trauma has a structural problem, physical problem, visceral, emotional, and then there's an energetic problem. And I've worked on people fixing their structural problems, helping them with their emotional and visceral, but I'm trying to tie in the energetic way of bringing them back to normal after that event, because fixing them physically doesn't take away the pain that they're living with. Even though you've changed how it works, they still feel that in their bodies. It's just not gone yet. So I'm trying to find the tie between and maybe work on a treatment that works for that. Outside, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how this works into that also.
Okay, so yeah, I want to hone in specifically to what this work can offer that's not going to overlap with all the other amazing work that's probably happening out there. I would still bring this back to the sleep playlist system, because wait, let me see. Oh, here. This is, no, maybe. Let's just look at examples of how people are using this. So there's this woman who's using it 3 times a week, and she's tracking her HRV, which her heart rate variability, and it's been like outstanding. So what I love about this is scalability. There's this woman who used it in her baby, and then creating a vibratory environment just allows this to happen on its own. So it basically allows people to heal themselves, so that even when you're not there, the healing would happen on its own. So let me see, how do I... Scalability would be like not dependent on the time that you're with them, right? Like a lot of people, when they go to therapy, okay, it's going to be once a week, and it's going to be maybe an hour a week, but there aren't enough therapists. And even if you have access to the therapist does not have enough time. So we need to negotiate for more time. So what you want to do is to find a psycho-spiritual, energetic, neural way where they can do this on their own. And the sonic environment would do it, because if that could already influence brain states, I think what's really important is to understand the nature of stress. And when people have high stress levels, especially when they take it to their sleep stages, healing doesn't happen. So one research point in the clinical would be to understand what is the part of the body or the brain that manages stress. Let me go to the drawing pad here. Just if we were to study this in the long term. I feel context is really, really important. So there's one part of the brain that I feel manages much of what happens in the inner dance or the Kundalini process, and it's called the hypothalamus. Now, the hypothalamus is connected to what's called the pituitary gland, and then the pituitary would then send out signals to the rest of the endocrine system, whether it be the adrenal, whether it be the thyroid. Oh, you're not seeing it?
We can
Yeah.
we cannot see you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I can see why. Maybe I need to repeat the sharing. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, now it's coming.
Okay. The thymus, the gonads. So I would still go back to the body. Like this manages stress. The thyroid manages metabolism. The thymus manages immunity. And the gonads manages reproduction. There would be more endocrine systems. So when I think about these, what I see here is the very, very small part of the body that manages the autonomic nervous system hosts these regions that are responsible for fear, for growth, for healing, and for sustaining life. And when a lot of people are unable to manage this, then metabolism would go down, immunity would go down, and life sustenance would go down. So I think the healing needs to happen in the long term, so you can access people when you're not there. So what Inner Dance had done initially was the therapist or the healer would need to be present, just to assist in the simultaneous co-activation. But studying the autonomic nervous system, that the changes don't actually last very long. Changes are short term. When we work with clients or with patients, for the changes to happen in the long term, we need to negotiate for more healing. We have to create a longer healing environment. So you would need to maybe get people to trust entrainment science, and if you get them to lay down like on their own, even when you're not there, then they become their own therapists. So it's almost like you're trying to give them the understanding that sound, brainwaves, heartbeat, if they're in stress, they need to manage that. They need to manage their bodies just as much as they need to manage the mind. When we work too much with trauma as a language, there's a circularity or kind of loop where people just keep going back to the same memories. Somehow we also need to break from the past so that people aren't going around in circles. And the conditionings in the autonomic nervous system would be quite interesting for us to study, because there are reactions or response mechanisms to things that happened in the past. So that if you were exposed to a lot of threats or danger when you were young, people aren't able to respond differently. So when you get them to lay down, we're actually allowing them to be scared or to be afraid, but to sit with it. So that if they change the way they're responding to stress, then one of the common feedbacks that we've been getting for a long time is that I'm not scared anymore. I used to be triggered by my mom or by the fear of not having enough, So just changing people's heartbeats is an opening unto itself. And you as a therapist, because you have the linguistic, the psychological tools, maybe if people's bodies are more in homeostasis, when they trust themselves, they trust you, they trust the universe, the information tends to flow through. So maybe even when you're not there, they're gaining like a lot of insight. So just my aspiration is scalability, because people need all this help and there's not enough of us and there's not enough time. If you can negotiate that they can do that self-healing on their own, you're not there anymore and it's still happening. So next thing you know, you're just showing up and you're just sitting there and then they're just like, wow, this is amazing. It's just incredible.
Thank you for that. Just something further from there. So are you saying that we're using wavelength therapy in the fluids to change programmed chemistry
Yeah.
through emotion?
Yes.
Okay.
That they're interlocked with each other.
Okay, now I understand. That's it. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for all your insight.
Thank you.
Thank
Maybe one more if there's any. Yeah, one last.
Yes. His way.
Right there.
He's trying hard to come.
Hola, hi. Mi nombre es Ricardo Trejo, de México.
My name is Ricardo Trejo. I'm from Mexico.
Y para mi pregunta, me voy a permitir primero hacer una comparación, porque la pregunta tiene que ver con la comparación que voy a hacer.
For my question, I allow myself to make a comparison because the comparison has to do with the question itself.
Mi pregunta es, he visto que se ha platicado un poco también de constelaciones. Aquí,
So we also spoke here in the training about constellations.
pero a diferencia de Kundalini, en las constelaciones el facilitador sabe cuál es el propósito y va ayudando a que se vaya dando la sesión y también interpreta.
Like in constellations, the therapist knows about the problem and the intention, so goes straight and helps manages the process, interpreting aspects he or she sees to kind of manipulate or steer the process.
Y también puede decir si con una sesión se cumplió el propósito o se necesitan varias sesiones.
And also the therapist there very often says if in one session the thing is kind of solved, or if the person needs more sessions, more constellations to work on.
Mi pregunta es, en una sesión de activación de Kundalini, no siempre sabemos qué está ocurriendo en cada persona.
In the Kundalini activation process, as we learned it, we don't know exactly, or we don't know at all what's happening in that person.
Puede ser que una persona esté en un proceso intenso de sanación y que no se haya terminado y necesite más sesiones. ¿Y cómo podría yo saber?
So as a therapist, could it be that some patient laying down is in a very deep transformation or healing process, but the process is not finished yet? So how can I know as a therapist if the person would need some more sessions?
Okay, amazing. Thank you. God says. I'm going to go back to the screen for this one because it's a very deep question. Wait, sorry. Let me stop. I think it's really important to understand inner dance and Kundalini activation as cross-modal. So if you have trainings coming from another tradition, it's very important not to make the work compete with each other. That the vibration, the inner dance, the Kundalini activation, it allows people to create more sensitivity and intuition so that the things that are hard to look at, that they could be seen. Go ahead.
Ok. Lo que está diciendo Pai, que en ese trabajo de inner dance o Kundalini activation, con otras terapias, porque con la vibración y el trabajo que llevamos a la gente a poder enfrentarse a los miedos, a los traumas, sin tenerle miedo a escaparse. Como...
All right. So usually when an activation happens, there are regions of the brain that are possibly more dominant. So there's the frontal lobe, the occipital, the parietal, and the temporal. Go ahead.
Cuando se trabaja con eso, se activan partes distintas del cerebro. Muchas veces la parte frontal, el cerebro frontal, pero también el occipital, el lateral y el temporal, que son las 4 áreas del cerebro que se activan durante ese trabajo.
So there are certain techniques in music and ways of holding where if it's in the front, it would be more of the body moving on its own. If you use certain other techniques, then people would see visions when the activations are happening at the back of the brain. Like here in the temporal lobe, this would be more where emotions are stored. And the parietal lobe is what allows for sensations to get mapped out. So when you start to study this in the long term, you would learn how to activate all of these different regions. And when you are able to co-activate all of the brain, this is just a neocortex. Then we're talking about the old brain that's responsible for autonomic functions. A more complete healing would allow people to see the things that they're not seeing. So even within the journey itself, the constellation work can already happen. You can already speak certain words within certain parts of the wave that would allow them to speak to their different parts, to their people, different moments. Go ahead.
En ese trabajo, cuando aprendemos a largo plazo a tocar a las personas a través de música y del toque y de todo, activamos esas partes, ¿no? Que hemos dicho, las partes frontal, que es más para el movimiento del cuerpo, la parte occipital, que es más de visiones, de imágenes, de colores, la parte lateral, que es más de emociones y sensoriales. Y después hay el cerebro, ese es el neocórtex, que es lo más nuevo, y hay la parte más antigua, el reptiliano, que está ahí dentro, el pequeño, y que es eso que se da cuenta de cosas, y también trabaja, bueno, con la energía trabaja mucho las conexiones con eso. Y esa parte que vemos ahora, la justo dentro del cerebro.
So the first thing that we're able to do in the process is we're able to send a lot of electricity through the different brain regions. So understand that there are 2 brains, the left and the right hemisphere. And when you begin the process, there will be a lot of electricity traveling through the different nerve tracts that are able to channel electricity as they travel through the different brain regions. Go ahead.
Cuando trabajamos con eso, nos damos cuenta que en realidad le estamos dando electricidad a esa parte del cerebro como señales eléctricas que conectan esas partes. Especialmente al principio hay muchas descargas donde el cuerpo se mueve así de rápido, las catarsis, y esa es justo esa parte de las dos partes del cerebro que se unen y comparten, bueno, señales, como puentes, como cortocircuitos casi.
So one of the first parts of the brain that will get affected when we send out electricity would be the language parts of the brain. So this green part is the Broca's area, which is responsible for language production. And this part here is responsible for language comprehension. So when people first go into inner dance or Kundalini activation, a lot of the patterns or conditions that are stored in memory and also in language, they are cleared out. So in a way, we become momentarily like a baby. Go ahead.
Cuando trabajamos con esa parte también del cerebro, le enviamos energía o electricidad. Una de las partes más afectadas es la parte del lenguaje. El Broca's area es esa parte verde y la Wernicke. La Broca's es para hacer lenguaje, para producir lenguaje, y la Wernicke es para interpretar el lenguaje. Y cuando trabajamos con eso, just one more second, cuando trabajamos con eso, inhibimos esas partes, entonces las personas van a un estado preverbal, que ya no son capaces de ponerle palabras o de entender palabras. Okay.
So the opportunity there is if you are able to speak to people later, when they're coming from this other dimension of being like a baby or being an energy being, when you start to use language, when you conduct constellation work, when you do psychiatric work, when people go back into language, there will be a translation from the pure baby state and the person, the persona, where there will be a lot more access to insight. Because right now, the gift that we're giving people is the ability to erase a lot of our trauma, our fear. But there is a lot of wisdom in allowing the purity of consciousness to also talk to the part that's programmed and conditioned in a way that negotiations or transactions can take place. So it's almost like we're holding two beings, the one that's pure and then the one that's a person. And the language part is very, very important in the process. So if you have the trainings to be able to listen to people within a system, those two systems really complement each other. So don't let go. Don't just make a choice. Don't compare. Create a complementarity situation where, do both of them.
Lo que parece es que es importante en ese trabajo también la complementariedad. Cuando trabajamos con gente y regresan a ese punto que no usan el lenguaje, es un sistema muy puro, del niño, totalmente puro, y cuando vuelve después del proceso, empezamos a hablar, pero todavía está conectado con esa pureza. Entonces hay un acceso a conocimientos o entendimientos mucho más profundos de lo que normalmente sería con hablarlo. Pero sí que es importante el proceso de la escucha, como lo hacemos después de la sesión, o quien sabe hacer también otra forma de terapia, después de la sesión también hacer la terapia. Ok.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one more question coming up.
Yeah, sure.
Hi. Actually, you probably already answered that question, but I'm going to ask anyway. How about breath work? I'm a somatic breath work facilitator, so my people are already on the floor. I use music. We guide them. I guide them through sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So is there any way that I can combine these two modalities?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, let's look at the difference. Siegfried, you can see the screen, yeah? So this is the central nervous system. And this is quite different from the autonomic nervous system, which is part of the peripheral nervous system. Now, when you do breath work, which is a beautiful practice, breath work taps both into the what's called the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Because when you study breathing, you can control your breathing. So the extensions of the somatic nervous system is very, very different from the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is automatic. And the somatic is very controlled. So when you conduct breath work, the somatic, the breath work practice first initiates the somatic, where there are instructions, where people are doing the breath work, and then there would be a sudden shift into the losing of control. So it really is going to be up to you on how much you want to use both the somatic and the autonomic. That based on the work that we're doing, we're using more of the autonomic nervous system, where breathing would naturally find the rising and falling. When you study breathing, it's really about breath rate, which is how fast or slow you're breathing, and breath depth, which is how deep are you breathing. And the part that controls breath rate and breath depth in the brain, which is called the pons, this is very, very sensitive to music. It's still also very connected to the hypothalamus. So I think if already a lot of people have the breath work, then they're able to activate both the somatic and the autonomic. But people who learn this work, like inner dance or Kundalini, there's a lot more of the autonomic nervous system. So maybe the longer you do this, and then the more people get used to this, you don't need to give instructions anymore on how to breathe. That people's bodies would just learn to breathe on its own. It will free you up, and it will free them up. I hope that makes sense. So don't give it up. There's a lot of gifts within the somatic nervous system, because we can't lose the masculine. The somatic is more the masculine. The autonomic is more the feminine. So there's a lot of yoga teachers, for example, who quit their yoga when they experience this work. I say don't give that up, because one leads more to form. It's like the container, and one is more the fluid, like water. It's like the substance inside the container. I think people need discipline, and then people need surrender. And so breathwork holds the discipline part, but the inner dance and Kundalini holds the surrender part. Give both to them.
Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
Thank you.
Wow. So thank you, Pai, for your time. I know you got up early to be with us today, and you are traveling also. So thank you so much for making this possible again and again. So yeah,
we are coming. I think this time, yes, in February, and there's so many people that is gonna come. So I think you're gonna have to do another dates also, because the group here, they're very interested in coming,
and we didn't speak with the second group of joining in Palawan. So, but yeah, we saw from the last group, and also some people here, they are interested in coming to see you and be with you for longer.
Yes.
And we will also share, if it's possible, the second and the third cycle of the online training you're giving. So if it's possible just to join in the second cycle.
Yeah.
They can do it.
Of course.
They can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so have a great rest of the journey together. and we'll keep in touch. I'm really happy to always get invited to these.
Yeah, we're having a short break, and then they are all gonna have the inner dance
Okay.
session this evening now. So
okay, give me
we'll try
feedback.
to get some feedback afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
you.
Bye. Say also hello to Italy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.